Anyway, so I was saying like what I did. So this is a K through 8 school, right? All in one building.
Yeah.
And so it's basically you do music lessons once a week and you hit all of them. So you have a day where you do a half hour, and you go the whole day doing half hour. You just go
Oh,
around to the different classrooms and do a half hour of music lesson with the entire classroom. So I went in as would be my style with no lesson plan, no real concept of what I wanted to do. I
yeah.
thought I'd just kind of feel it. I thought we'd just say hi, get to know each other's names. But then I realized it only takes like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. Your
Uh,
name should be longer.
Really, it should. Like just pronouncing the syllables of my name, I was expecting to take at least 15 minutes. Um, so then all of a sudden I had to like teach 30 kids something about music. And this is actually kind of funny. So my first class was with second graders, I want to say.
Okay.
And I have had this long moment where I'm just standing there thinking, like trying to figure out what to do. I'm just standing there. I'm just looking around like so well um and then the kids start going, "What are you waiting for?"
Oh, because they're not used to it. They're not used to that long pregnant pause.
No, no, not since their mamas gave birth to him. But yeah, eventually I was like, you know what I can do? We can do some rhythm stuff.
I was gonna
So,
say that's a place to start, right?
so I
So
had them clapping and counting and all
yeah.
that.
So is the expectation that you just teach them the basics of music?
The expectation is I take up a half hour of their time each Wednesday.
That is the education system. I mean, like, to command a group like that is very difficult. I've done it a couple times, and it changes a little bit how you think, especially when you're, I'm guessing 20 kids or something.
It's like 30 to 35 kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's daunting.
It is daunting, and it's as you know, teaching is not my forte. Well, it's not that I suck at it. It's not that I'm
Yeah,
bad at it, but it's just not something that I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's innate to me. So it's a bit of a push to teach just in general. Like so, one-on-one lessons, cool.
yep,
Doing
yep,
those groups like we did, 5, 6 kids in a band setting. Yeah, okay, that's
yep.
fine too. But Jesus, 30 kids, and you just like it's such a weird setup. Like
Yeah.
half of them are going to be ignoring you.
Yep. Half of them don't get
The
the
other
concept.
half,
I mean, like clapping,
yeah,
right? Like they're like 1, 2. I've been there.
yeah. Well, actually, I had them going pretty well because I tailored it to their level. Like I did it in a way that I figured out what they already knew
Okay.
and then pushed just like a little bit beyond that. So
Yeah.
there's like one class where I was doing like syncopated 16th note rhythms and stuff. And that
Very.
was a sixth grade class, and I was just like, didn't expect that to happen, but
Yeah.
yeah, it just happened that way.
And then have like half the class just play their. You basically got to make them into a drum set. Like you third of the class is going to be feet only. You're playing quarter notes. You third of the class is hands only. You guys are snapping on 2 and 4.
Right. I actually did some of that. I split I for every one of them I split them into two groups. One was stomps and one was claps, and
Okay.
I had them doing basic drum beats. It's like
Great
so
minds
you
think
guys
alike.
you only get beats 1 and 3,
Yeah.
and you guys only get beats 2 and 4. And whatever rhythm I write out, you have to stomp and clap. So I just do that with like quarter note and eighth note rhythms.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds like an exhausting day though, especially your first one.
Oh, yeah, and it was luckily my first day there. It was a trial day. It was only a half day, so it was
Okay.
But man, looking at the schedule for like a full day, the second half of the day is the climbing Mount Everest part, because it suddenly you go from having like 15-minute break to 5-minute break to no break. You're just going from one class to the next, the next.
So
the
like
next.
4 in a row, 3 in a row.
It's like 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like, because you don't get a second to be off, and that's what always wore me out with lessons, right? You're like,
Yeah.
brrr, and then to have 30 kids that you're working with and having to be on for 30 minutes at a time of processing, thinking, reading the room.
Right. Well, and with individual lessons, you have a lot. You have actually quite a bit of breathing room within the lesson itself.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just like, you get to sit down and say hi. You know, you kind of know each other one-on-one. You get to like kind of talk like, oh, how did you piss off your parents this week? You know, ha ha ha. You know, and you spend 5 minutes just kind of a little bit of banter, and then you really get into the meat of the lesson. So there's like a little built-in break even. But then during the lesson too, you can be like, all right, play that again.
Yeah.
I'll check my email quick.
Yeah. I never did that. I never texted. I'd be like this, teaching with one hand. I'd even do that with drums. I'd be like playing a drum and be like texting with the other one. You got good at stuff doing that though.
Yes.
Not good, but you got good at stuff.
Well, I mean, you got, there's only so much that a teacher needs to do to teach. They need to, it's more about the student playing or applying what they're learning, not so much the teachers constantly doing it for them, right? So there's a lot of...
Yeah. Show and then wait for them to show you back, and you're just like, do it again. Do it.
Yeah. Oh, and this is pretty funny too. This tells me just like this school was pretty desperate for a music teacher. When I went for my initial, yes, they want to hire me, so they're clearly beyond desperate.
Just
but I went for my initial interview, and what I meant to say was, I don't personally want to put, I would personally want to put a high emphasis on like really digging into the theory and what is a clef and what are the different ones and just going into like all the really, bookish aspects of music. I thought, with kids it's more fun to be like practical application and beats and songs and stuff. But it apparently came off as I didn't know theory. And they still invited me back because once I did my first lesson, and there was like a teacher coming in to check on me to see how I was doing, and she saw that I was like writing out notes and subdivisions and rhythm patterns. She's like, afterwards, she's like, I thought you didn't know that stuff. I thought you said you didn't know that stuff. I was like, what? And you want to pay me to do this, and you thought I didn't know this stuff? Right on. Okay.
That's all I have to say about that. Yep. My old yep.
Your old yep.
I'm going to hijack this for 1 sec, but it made me think of your skill set with knowing other languages, right? Like, how many languages do you know?
I only know 3.
You should, just for fun, do like a quick tutorial video on guitar in all 3 languages for YouTube.
That'd be kind of cool.
Well,
the problem is one of them is no longer spoken because it's a dead language.
Don't do that one. That'd be awesome though if you did it. Is it Latin?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the best thing ever?
Do a guitar lesson in Latin. That would be pretty sweet.
I think you should do all 3 languages and just see how it goes, because there's some people right now that are like their best channels are their Spanish channel or their best channels are this channel, because there's not an American speaker in their language that's teaching them guitar.
Right.
And there's something unique about that. So that would be kind of fun. That might be a great blog post for you too.
What I should do is just layer them all 3 on top of each other, have them playing at the same time.
Well, I barely understand English, so it won't mess with me that much.
That's true.
Yeah.
That would be cool, though. I think that would be cool. It would be, most of all, it would be a hell of an experience to be like, all right. So, because, I actually have studied music in Czech. That's how I first started learning music theory was via Czech. I bought a little book. I bought myself a cheap classical guitar because I didn't know the difference between nylon, steel string, electric, acoustic, whatever back in those days. And clearly I have not come very far since then.
I was going to make that. I resisted.
But then I bought this little, I think I still have it somewhere. I don't see it in my bookshelf. Anyway, I bought this little music theory book. And obviously it was all in Czech because I was in Prague at the time. And that's how I first started learning about it. And it's strange that they don't have a B flat. They use H.
Oh, really? Yeah. But they have sharp.
It was like the one that stood out for me. It was like,
yeah.
Okay.
Did that trip you up then when you, in your brain, moved it to English? However you did that?
It did at first, but I mean, English is pretty easy for me.
Okay. Or that time that I wrote on a chord sheet B double flat. Just
that
to be
exists.
a dick. I know. I just want to be a dick.
And then they use like mole instead of, what is mole? I think mole is minor.
Okay.
Anyway, it's very like they use a lot of German terms. I mean, which they would. They were, Czech was pretty much ruled by German speakers for a long time.
Okay. So they took a lot
they're
of that
very,
language.
They used to be very tight knit. Like Germany and Bohemian Czech culture used to be very, very tight knit.
Yeah. I think that'd be fun. It'd be interesting to see if either of those three catch on too. Like all of a sudden you'd be like, shit, that got 1,000 views. I'll do more of that. But
now I got to get better at Latin. Oh, shit.
I know you said that in a way that makes it sound like this, but that's really your attitude. You would like to get better at Latin. Is that to speak to all your friends that also know Latin?
Hey, I actually do. Over the years, I have got a couple who speak Latin. So,
gotcha. Well, I'm sure you guys have fun with that.
Actually, you know what? We do. We did. There was a lot of wine and nice breads and cheeses in Latin.
Gotcha.
Because the first guy I met, he really liked his big thing was he'd drive. It was in Ireland, so he'd go across the channel over to France with his buddy. They'd leave all of their luggage behind and just bring back crates of wine going the other direction because it was so cheap but so good. Wow. And they just load up on it in France and just have like wine for a year or two, just a stockpile of it.
I mean, I do the same thing with whiskey, so if the opportunity presented itself.
He was the first guy who introduced me to whiskey. And it was the most expensive whiskey I've ever had. Really? It was the first whiskey I ever had. And I thought it was gross.
So he owes you a new liver, though.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, yeah, he set me down that path. Because I was a vodka drinker,
Oh, really? Oh. I can't. I like vodka, but I just can't drink a bunch. In my mind, there's no, like, great flavor to drink a ton of it, right?
I don't know. I just used to drink it like it was a glass of water.
Okay. All right. That's the difference here. Good. I kind of knew that, but it's called leading the witness.
My buddy who did end up becoming an alcoholic, actually, he made a comment on that. He's like, I've never seen someone able to drink vodka just like you treat it just like it's water. I don't know.
Did you pat yourself on the back afterwards? You're like, yeah, I do. Damn.
I just didn't think much about it. I was like, vodka.
It might have been after hanging out with you for 2 years that everyone's like, man, you kind of drink a lot and you drink fast. Literally have been comments that I get quite a bit. Oh, man, you finished that beer already? Well, I'm like, if you're hanging out with Nick and writing songs and drinking, guess what? You got to keep up.
Yeah, you don't want to fall behind. Yeah, that's no fun.
Those were the good old days when we were much younger than we are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was 30?
Yeah. Oh, such a young one.
Yeah.
And I was 32.
Sorry. Whew. That caught me off guard a little bit.
I'll do that from time to time.